If you want to get a complex sounding drop like this, you're going to want to start with a super basic kick snare pattern, then get a little more complicated with your other rhythmic elements. In this one I'm using hats. Then go ahead and make yourself a sub. For this one I'm using a sine wave with a pitch drop from LFO1 and kind of a decaying envelope so that there's like a change in volume over time. Then I cloned that and just turned it into a saw wave. That way I could send it into a unique mixer track where I've added some chorus. That way my sub doesn't have width, but the saw that's on top of it does. Then to go along with the drums, I added a couple of pitch bends and stutters to the second half. Then both those into a mix bus and add some post effects. Then start working on a bass line. In this case, most of the sound design for this one comes from the post effects, so with them turned off, all our basic patch is on this one is a vital that has a couple of rhythms from LFO1, 2 different oscillators, and some basic effects. Then for post effects, I have a vocodex with the unison order turned up, the unison shift pretty high up, this turned all the way up, which is like a pitch shifter for the carrier or modulator or whatever, bands to 100. All of these are turned down quite a bit. This is like an EQ kind of for your gain, so I EQ'd it, turned the hold up a little bit or made the high hold, whatever the fuck. It's like alchemy, dude. Explaining vocodex is stupid. Just do whatever sounds good in vocodex. In this case, it was not having noise. The noise is stinky on there, so I turned that off. And then I added a chroma. People want to hate on me for using chroma. You don't like chroma, don't use it, silly. So I have chroma. It's not even really doing that much. Just kind of making it the correct pitch. Then I have a frequency shifter where I've like automated the frequency. Just makes it kind of pop around and move a little bit. Then I have an OTT. We're going to speed run through these because people just don't have the bandwidth to pay attention to all this. EQ, a little reverb. Not a big one, just a little one. No big tail. We don't want all that tail, we want it to be nice and short. Alright, and then we have a spectral gate. Yeah, just getting some crystals out of it. And then the gross beat, I'm not going to explain how gross beat works, but I just use it to like stutter and do a pitch shift right here. And that is because the green part and the orange part, the green part does a little pitch shift at the end and makes it like stutter back, and this part just gets rid of the gain so that the tails aren't running into each other. Nice and cool sounding. Then we have another OTT and a V-clip just making it loud. Wow, that's nice. Okay, now that's the longest part of this tutorial explained. Let's move into some other easy to explain parts. One thing that I found is useful is making a pad type sound or like a melodic sound for your bass to sit on top of. So in this case, whenever the sub plays, I have a glitchy bullshit super sample. That's just a pad sound that I'm using different chops of, and a little guitar sound that I sent through some effects which are not important. As you can hear, that's gone through a MAME. I'll show MAME just in case you're like, MAME, what is MAME? This is MAME, and then just pitched it up and EQ'd all the bottom parts out. I don't want all that other stuff. And then when I heard that like, ooh, woo, I just made a lead to kind of go with that. And the lead again is super simple. It is a glitchy bullshit super duper. I'm gonna fucking stop promoting the pack. I can't help it. I just have to mention it anytime I use the sound from it because it is kind of what makes me money on the internet. So go buy that if you want to. If you don't, that's okay. You don't have to buy it. Go find a person that bought it and just be like, yo, give me a copy, dog, or I'll kill you. So yeah, I sent 2 of those into a couple effects. That into an EQ with a big reverb and some OTT. Once I have those 3 different layers, I kind of send those into a bus, but before I do that, I take the bass and I sidechain each of those layers. As you can see, they all end with a fruity limiter that's moving these sounds out of the way whenever the bass is playing. So just a way to like give your, bass sound or whatever a pad to sit on. So from there, let's move into the fun part of this, which is adding a bunch of little glitchy fillers. And the main thing that I've done here is I have a couple of pieces. The melody chopped lane is for just parts of melodic loops that I've probably EQ'd. So again, this is another melodic loop, right? That and that is kind of layered. So this piece layered with, what is this? Is this the same thing? No, it's a bunch of different melodic samples that I've just layered together. And then I have them as like supporting and sometimes forefront elements, but depending on what's there, to other stuff. So I have some vocal pieces, along with some granular little sections. Right, just kind of taking everything together. It's hard to explain how to do this other than saying, sometimes do it when stuff is playing, sometimes do it when stuff is not playing. I will say this, because this is something that's new that I've started adding, which is Foley. I used to just do a bunch of like melodic layers, but now I found that like adding Foley pieces tends to get like more grit into it, and also like a sense of rhythm that you miss out without having like some little stuttery pieces of Foley or whatever. Oh, and also like don't stick with all melodic things. Get some like noisy or glitchy pieces that are not so tonal. Right, some bendy pieces. That way you're not consistently like spamming with the same thing. You want to get different like levels of texture to it. It's like ice cream with sprinkles. If you just have the ice cream, that's good, but like the sprinkles add some texture, they add a little crunch to the top, they add a little bit of percussiveness to the bite, right? But sprinkles without ice cream, fucking terrible. I mean, maybe. Go find out. Go eat some sprinkles. Oh, and then also I've introduced some little clunky sounds. I don't know. I don't know what to say to explain these other than just do as many different little weird pieces as you can. So with that, if you want to get the FLP for this, you can go to my Patreon. I have a new tier there that you can spend $40 and rent my time if you want, or you can go to Gumroad and buy sample packs, or you can go to Instagram and hit me up for lessons. That's going to do it for this one, y'all. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.